Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. The head of state chairs the 16th session of the Council of Ministers. Still for the national news, launch of the 50th edition of the Pan-African Youth Forum by the MGC. And for the international news in Afghanistan, humanitarian organizations launch appeal for international aid. The details tonight. Welcome to our newsroom again. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Al-Haj Ismail Omar Guelleh, has conveyed his warm congratulations and best wishes for success to his re-elected counterpart from the Republic of Ivory Coast, the Côte d'Ivoire, His Excellency Mr. Alassane Ouattara, who has declared the winner of the country's recent presidential election. In his message of congratulations, President Guelleh hailed the overwhelming and near plebiscitary victory that led the President Ouattara's renewed mandate, describing it as a clear expression of the confidence and trust of the Ivorian people. And your enlightened leadership, wrote President Guelleh, the sister nation of Ivory Coast has already made significant strides in strengthening its economic foundations. I express the hope, he continued, that the renewed confidence bestowed upon you will further energize your efforts to provide your country with all the benefits of sustainable development. It should be noted that a similar message of congratulation was also addressed by President Ismail Omar Guelleh to the re-elected President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Her Excellency Mrs. Samia Suluhu Hassan. Now, I mentioned the title presented over by the President of the Republic and Head of the Government, His Excellency Al-Haj Ismail Omar Guelleh. The Council of Ministers held its 16th session today, Tuesday, during which a number of draft texts were reviewed and approved. The detailed.
Sous la présidence de son Excellence M. Ismail Omar Guelleh, président de la République, chef du gouvernement, a eu lieu ce mardi 4 novembre 2025 la 16e séance du Conseil des ministres. Ont été examinés et approuvés les textes et projets suivants. Présidence de la République.
First question, draft law on the creation of National Cybersecurity Authority. In a world where digital transformation is redefining economic, social, and institutional relations, the protection of the national cyberspace has become an absolute priority. While technological innovations offer significant opportunities, they also expose our infrastructure and information system to increasingly complex threats. Aware of these challenges, the government has initiated the creation of the National Cybersecurity Authority attached to the Presidency of the Republic. This new institution will serve as the spearhead of the national cybersecurity policy, embodying the state's determination to strengthen the resilience of its digital infrastructure and to ensure the security of public and private data. The INC will be responsible for implementing the national cyber strategy, protecting infrastructure, vital operator and state information system, ensuring the security of networks and communications, combating digital interference and disinformation campaigns, and promoting the development of skills, research and innovation in the field of cybersecurity. In carrying out its mission, the INC will act in compliance with existing laws and regulations, particularly those concerning the protection of personal data and fundamental freedoms. Its actions will be guided by the principle of necessity, proportionality, impartiality, and transparency. The second question, draft law on the approval of the financial account of the Djiboutian offices for geothermal energy development for the 2024 fiscal year. The financial account of the ODEG for the 2024 fiscal year show revenue of 410 million and expenses of 425 million. The net result of the year is 13.8 million, reflects a significant improvement of plus 33.8 million compared to 2022. 47.6 million to FD revenue for 24, increased by plus 16.9 million, mainly due to a rise in state subsidies, which grew from 337 million in 2023 to 360.2 million in 2024. Also covering water and electricity expenses. Total expenses amounted to 424.1 million, marking a decrease of 16.9 million, owing to reduced external services, 9 0.9 million, and personnel cost is 10.7 million. It's a receivable total of 92.7 million, including 56.2 million in supplemental advances and deposit loans, and debt stands at 227.5 million, of which 180 million are tax and social liabilities. During 2024, ODEG invested over 71.5 million in construction, technical installation tools, and office equipment. The third question, draft law on the approval of the financial account of the Djibouti Multi-Sectoral Regulation Authorities for the 2024 fiscal year. The ARMD's financial account for the 2024 show revenues of 170 million and expenses of 165 million, resulting in a surplus of 4,900,000. Revenue mainly come from frequency fees, 55.1 million, licenses revenue 76.6 million, and state subsidies 33.3 million. Expenses amount to 165.8 million, primarily divided among personnel costs 122.2 million, external services 15.7 million, other services 9.3 million, and various supplies and purchases 7.9 million. On the balance sheet, receivable reached 62.7 million, up to 42.9 million the previous year. Equity totals of 120.2 million, and debts remains low at 2.1 million. In 2024, RMD made 4.9 million investment, mainly for essential operational equipment. The Minister of Higher Education and Research, the first question, draft law on the approval of the financial account of the Higher Institute of Health Sciences for the 2024 fiscal year. The 2024 financial account of the ISSS show revenue of 308 million and expenses of 307 million, resulting of net profit of 1.7 million. This reflects an improvement of plus 10 million, moving from 8.2 million deficit in 2023 to plus 1.7 million. Surplus of revenue rose by 29.2 million. The Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment, the fifth question, draft law on the adoption of the financial account of the Djibouti International Airport for the 2024. The Djibouti International Airport account for the 2024 records revenue of 3.3 billion, expenses of 3.2, resulting in a profit of 114 million. So this represents a 277.6 million improvement compared to 223, when the result was a deficit of 160.5 million. Revenue slightly decreased. The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity.
And the Minister of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights and acting government spokesperson commented on the main point discussed during the session. On another note, the Council of Ministers approved the financial accounts of the National Agency for Social Development. The reports.
Ministère des Affaires sociales et de la solidarité, sixième question. Projet de loi portant approbation des comptes financiers de l'Agence djiboutienne de développement social pour l'exercice 2024.
The sixth question, draft law on the approval on financial account of the Djibouti Social Development Agency. The ADDS account show revenue of 492 million and expenses of 484 million, resulting in a net profit of 8.8 million. This marks a decrease of 34.1 million compared to 2023. Revenue dropped by 52.9 million, mainly due to lower project termination, while expenses increased by plus 18.3, driving personal costs 315.3 million. In 2024, ADDS dispersed 1.1 125 billion in project investment, including the development response for displacement impact project in the Horn of Africa, the integrated urban development project 2, the integrated urban development project BEAS, and the infrastructure development and economic promotion project in regional areas. The Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, the 7 questions draft law on the approval of the financial account of the International Hydrocarbon Company of Djibouti for 2024. The SIHD account show revenue of 51 billion and expense of 50 billion, generating a net profit of 458 million, an increase of 106.3 million from 2023. Operating revenue rose by 6.4 billion, while operating expense increased the 5.8 billion, mainly due to higher purchase costs, 49.1 billion, and personnel costs expense 472.6 million. Financial expense totaled 463.9 million, while exceptional charges dropped to 333.9 million. The Ministry of Communication and Postal Communication, the 8th question draft law on the adoptions of the financial account of the National Printing Offices of Djibouti. The IND accounts show revenue of 357 million and expenses of 409 million. Revenue fell by 32.5 million, mainly due to the reduced state subsidies, 233.7 million to 214.9 million, and lower sales, 26.1 million. Expenses slightly decreased 5.8 million to reduce to 409.3 million, with personnel costs rises to 230.2 million. The Ministry of Labor, Formalization and Social Protection, the 9th question draft law on the approval of the financial account of the National Institute of Public Administration for 2024. The INAP account show revenue of 119 million and expense of 121 million. Revenue declined slightly from 122.3 million in 2023, consisting mainly of state subsidies 105.4 million and external grants 800.9 million. The 9th question draft decree on appointment. The Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Fishery, Livestock and Marine Resources, Mr. Saeed Khairi Yusuf is appointed technical advisor to the minister. Mr. Hassan Mohammed Hassan is appointed director of rural hydraulics. The Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, Mr. Hamza Hussein Ali and Ms. Mariam Amin Muhammad are appointed inspector of energy and natural resources. Communication. The Minister of Economy and Finance reported on his participation in the 2025 annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank held in Washington from October 13 to 19. Discussions with the World Bank and IMF covered governance reforms, migration challenges, climate changes, and regional instability. The Mission 300 initiative to connect 300 million Africans to electricity by 2030 was also discussed. The minister also attended the 25th ministerial meeting of the Horn of Africa initiative, co-chaired by the Somali minister and the World Bank VP Ndiaye Diop. Discussions focused on borderlands development and long-term project financing. The Minister of Labor reported on his participation in the 6th conference of OIC Labor Ministers Doha and the theme of local experiences, global achievement. He highlighted Djibouti's progress in employment and social dialogue. He also attended the 3rd IGAD Ministerial Conference, Nairobi, October 2023 to 2025 on labor, migrations, and governance. The Minister of Digital Economy and Innovation reported on signing the UN Conventions on Cybercrimes in Hanoi. Representing His Excellency President Ismail Magele, the convention is the first global legal framework for preventing and combating cybercrime. The Minister of Commerce and Tourism reported on his participation in the 5th Turkey-Africa Business and Economic Forum, the 3rd African Infrastructure Finance Summit, Luanda, Angola. Finally, the Minister of Health announced that the third African Forum on Strengthening Health Product Supply Chains will be held in Djibouti from November 18 to 20, 2025.
It was Mohamed Adan with the report of the Councils of Ministers of today. And now on behalf of the President of the Republic and Head of the Government of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Al-Haj Ismail Omar Guelleh, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar, represented the Republic of Djibouti at the official inauguration ceremony of Her Excellency Mrs. Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. During the ceremony, Minister Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar conveyed to her President Suluhu Hassan the warmest congratulations and sincere best wishes of President Guelleh on the occasion of her election victory. He emphasized that this victory reflects the renewed confidence of the Tanzanian people in her vision with leadership, her commitment to national unity, and her determination to promote peace, stability, and sustainable development across the country. And now, for the first time in its history, UNESCO is holding its general conference outside Paris, and equally for the first time in Central Asia. More than 2,800 delegates from 190 member states are gathering in the historic city of Samarkand, Uzbekistan, to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the UNESCO's founding. His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, is heading a high-level delegation to participate in the 43rd session of UNESCO's General Conference held exceptionally in Samarkand, the jewel of the Silk Road, the city of scholars and imams, and the second largest city in Uzbekistan. On this occasion, UNESCO Director General opened the general policy debate by reviewing the 8 years of commitment and progress. She reflected on the Silk Road as a symbol of cultural exchange and transmission of knowledge, embodying the very spirit and mission of UNESCO. The conference, which will continue until 13 November 2025, aimed to discuss future policies and programs that will strengthen UNESCO's role in advancing sustainable development and building knowledge-based societies. During the opening session, the agenda was adopted by the President and Vice President. Committee chairs and rapporteurs were elected. It is noteworthy that this is the first time in 40 years that UNESCO's General Conference is being held outside its headquarters in Paris. The program of this 43rd session includes more than 150 events and activities covering areas such as education, science, culture, environment, technology, and communications. Now we're coming back to Djibouti, where I mentioned on the title, under the high patronage of the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Moumin Assowe, the 5th African Youth Forum was officially launched in conjunction with the celebration of the African Youth Day at the Isla Grand Hotel in Djibouti. This major continental event brought together over 5,500 young leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators from more than 55 African countries, alongside official delegation, members of the Djiboutian government, and representatives from the African Union Commission. Upon arrival, Minister Hibo Moumin Assowe was warmly welcomed by a large delegation of young participants from across Africa. The opening ceremony featured a vibrant artistic and cultural performances, highlighting the richness and diversity of Djibouti's heritage, a powerful symbol of the unity and fraternity that define Africa's youth. Through this 5th edition of the African Youth Forum, the MGC reaffirms its commitment to providing young Djiboutian and Africans with a platform for expression, innovation, and active contribution to the building of a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient Africa. The African Youth Forum, established in 2016 in Togo, has since become a dynamic platform for dialogue, cooperation, and exchange between young people across the continent and policymakers. Coinciding with African Youth Day, this 5th edition stands both as a celebration and a call to action. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Ismail Omar Guelleh, it embodies the vision of united, bold, and determined African youth ready to build the Africa of tomorrow. Still under the high patronage of Dr. Hibo Moumin Assowe, the official launch ceremony of the 5th edition of the Pan-African Youth Forum was held this Thursday. Thursday. The event coincides with the celebration of the National African Youth Day, marking a significant moment of recognition, unity and pride for the youth of the continent. This major continental gathering brings together in Djibouti as a true platform for expression, dialogue and co-construction. The forum seeks to foster civic engagement, strengthen youth entrepreneurship and leadership, also consolidate the role of young people in Africa's economic, social and environmental transformation. Held under the theme From Aspiration to Action, Youth as a Catalyst for Sustainable Development, this edition highlights innovation, inclusion and intergenerational cooperation, three key drivers for sustainable and shared development. Guided by the created in 2016 in Lomé, Togo, this Pan-African Youth Forum is a continental initiative that promotes the active participation of young people in governance, innovation, culture and entrepreneurship. The representative of the UNDP underscored the critical importance of investing in the potential, creativity and energy of African youth. Let's listen to her words.
Alongside the Ministry of Youth and Culture and the African Union, please allow me also from the side of UNDP to extend a big welcome and bienvenue to Djibouti. And like the minister said, this is a small but a strong nation that continues to stand as the pillar of peace, dialogue in a region that is sometimes facing very complex challenges. While part of our continent, including our friends and neighboring countries, are sometimes enduring difficult times, Djibouti reminds us that stability is possible and peace can endure. And because already reference was made by the minister to last week's event in Arta on Somalia Peace Memorial, I want to say that there is a strong history here that young people, everybody in this room, you can continue.
And now the president of the Pan-African Youth Forum, for his part, emphasized the urgent need for a united and proactive African youth capable of driving meaningful change across the continent. He called on young people to embrace solidarity, innovation and civic responsibility as guiding principles for shaping Africa's future, stressing that the continent's transformation depends on their collective vision, determination and engagement. And finally, the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asowe, reaffirmed the government's unwavering commitment to making youth the driving force of sustainable development. She emphasized that investing in young people's education, creativity and leadership remains at the heart of national priorities, reflecting the vision of His Excellency Al-Haj Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic of Djibouti, to build an inclusive, innovative and prosperous Djibouti, where every young person can contribute meaningfully to the nation's progress and to the advancement of Africa as a whole. Let's listen now to a reaction.
Thank you very much. My name is Cleopatra Awompomi Azantilo. I'm representing Ghana on behalf of the National Youth Authority. It's a privilege to be here at the Pan-African Youth Forum in Djibouti, and we are very excited on behalf of Ghana to share the Ghanaian story on youth development and its success. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to interacting with everyone here in Djibouti.
And now this morning, the Idris Farah Abane Police Academy APIFA hosted a promotion ceremony for 12 members of the Defense and Security Forces, 11 police officials and 1 member of the Armed Forces who were awarded higher ranks. Upon his arrival at APIFA, the Chief of the General Staff and of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, was welcomed by the Director General of the National Police, Colonel Abdurrahman Ali Kahin. The Chief of Staff then reviewed the troops composed of members of the RAD unit, presided over by the SEMGA. The ceremony aimed to honor officials who distinguished themselves through their competence and efficiency during the arrest of 2 armed robbers involved in the bank heist that took place on September 21st. Held under the theme of recognition and merit, the event was an opportunity to publicly acknowledge the dedication, professionalism and sacrifice of these officers who demonstrated exemplary commitment throughout the operation. As a marking of appreciation, several promotions were conferred to Captain Mohammed Dahir Ege, who was promoted to rank of Commandant. Chief Warrant Officer Mohammed Omar Ali of the Djiboutian Armed Forces was promoted to Second Lieutenant. official Guled Abdurazak Mohammed, Abdurrahman Ahmed Idli, Farhan Mohammed Qumane, and Abdurrahman Omar, who were promoted to chief warrant official. Staff Surgeon Abubakar Abdi Oki, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, and Hamzi Abdurrahman Abdullahi were promoted to warrant official. Surgeons Barkhad Musa Gele, Liban Idris Hassan were promoted to staff surgeon. Finally, Corporate Chief Abdul Wahab Mahmoud Ahmed was promoted to surgeon. The ceremony took place in the presence of the General Director of the National Police, the Commander of the National Navy, Colonel Ahmed Dahir Jamah, and several senior police officials. The event concluded with a musical performance by the Government Police Band, who performed a series of songs in tribute to the promoted officials and their unwavering dedication to service and duty.
أبابوليه قوشي أم بقاد كنولاشيو أبدي دقالكيو إندينا تغيمو تغي أسكريو أساسكي نبضيو أبابوليه أم بقاد كنولاشيو أبدي دقالكيو إندينا تغيمو تغي أسكريو الدنيا ذا دمانتدي ودوبكودي باتو الدنيا ذا دمانتدي ودوبكودي باتو أدانا ربيتري.
And now, on the occasion of World Sight Day and White Cane Day, the ADDA Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, held a ceremony this morning at the People's Palace, celebrated annually across the globe. This day brought together a wide range of participants, including organizations supporting persons with disabilities, specialized teachers, and students. In their remarks, officials emphasized the importance of education and social inclusion for individuals with visual impairments. The ceremony featured moving testimonies and educational presentations, shedding light on both the daily challenges and the remarkable achievement of people with visual disabilities in the fields of education and employment. Through this initiative, ADDA and MEFOP reaffirmed their shared commitment to building a more inclusive, equitable, and compassionate society where everyone, regardless of visual ability, can fully participate in social and professional life. And now, as part of effort to strengthen cultural ties between the Republic of Djibouti and Somalia, the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture organized a festive musical evening last night at the National Library. The event was highlighted by the performance of the Somali music group Waberi and Hiddo, who presented patriotic songs celebrating the deep historical friendship and brotherhood between the two nations.
Ilmaner wada dashiyo, abdi sediyo wil shacabka Soomaaliyeed iyo shacab.
And now, for the regional news, the United States is stepping up its diplomatic effort to bring an end to the conflict that has been devastating Sudan for more than 2 years. Washington has proposed a 3-month humanitarian ceasefire, seen as the first step in a 9-month political roadmap aimed at restoring peace and stability. This initiative, backed by Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE, comes as the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate, with over 40,000 people killed and 14 million displaced. And now for the international news in Afghanistan, as I mentioned on the title, following the deadly earthquake of August 31st, humanitarian organizations are calling for stronger international mobilization.
Following the magnitude 6.0 earthquake that struck Afghanistan on Sunday, August 31, humanitarian organizations are launching an appeal for international aid. So far, only a few countries have made a public commitment. The difficulty for this nation lies in finding a reliable material, given that the international community does not recognize the Taliban government. The United Kingdom has announced it will contribute €1 million, $1.3 million to help the population. This money will be given to humanitarian organizations and not to the Taliban government, which the UK does not recognize. On Wednesday, South Korea announced it will contribute $1 million through the United Nations. On Tuesday, Australia pledged $1 million and stated that it was working with established partners to ensure its aid benefit those in India and not the Taliban government.
And this is it for this 9 p.m. English News Edition. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned for more on RTD.